Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I wanted to continue to talk about Dungeons & Dragons and Red Box as a Woman. So this is, so where are we at right now? We're in May. We're at the end of spring, the spring season. And I think this has really emerged as very much one of the biggest stories of spring 2024. And what I want to talk about today is the reason this story is so important is because it is forcing everyone to acknowledge the absolute hugely the outrageous complexity of Dungeons & Dragons canon. And people are like, well, what's it matter? It's just, you know, it's a few facts about Dungeons & Dragons. Well, the reason why this is important is Dungeons & Dragons, and people won't know this until later. I'm the only one talking about this right now, but just because I'm the only one talking about it now doesn't mean it's full. Like 5 years ago, I was saying, hey, I think you could improve yourself. I think you can learn and grow and change and transform with Dungeons & Dragons. This year, Lego Dungeons & Dragons Red Dragon set is like, increasingly research is showing that Dungeons & Dragons can have a therapeutic effect. Like that's what I was saying. I was like, I was saying you could learn, grow, change, transform. They're talking about therapy. Some people think therapy can be helpful to learn, grow, change, and transform. We're in the same neighborhood, right? We might not be on the same block, but we're in the same neighborhood, right? Like, so, and what I'm saying is Dungeons & Dragons is it is the intellectual property that has the most momentum in the world. It has infiltrated a ton of other intellectual properties. And the question of how secular canon is established is happening first on Dungeons & Dragons, and it's going to happen on a whole bunch of other things, right? So let's get into this. So how does Dungeons & Dragons canon get determined, right? So what is canon right now? Well, in my humble opinion, canon is that the Red Box Warrior is a woman. How did we arrive there, right? And by the way, that was a 41-year secret. That secret went from 1983 to 2024. That's 41 years of secrecy on what the actual canon is on the Red Box Warrior. We didn't know before, right? And you're like, well, wait. Larry Elmore said it years ago. It doesn't matter. Let me explain how canon is determined. All right, so, and this event has prompted me to think, what exactly are the elements and the sequence required for Dungeons & Dragons canon? Let's roll it through, okay. All right, designers are going to design. Executives are going to executive. Artists are going to art. Publishers are going to publish. Community is going to experience. Community is going to engage, all right? And so, and if you could get, now, and also, just to be clear, that is every element that determines canon. That's every event that determines canon, but the sequence can absolutely change, okay? All right. And if any one of those elements is, ooh, that's interesting. And I would say you need a quorum. You don't even need all of those elements. You need a quorum of those elements. And I would say that the community cannot be skipped, right? But you could skip art and you could skip design, right? You could skip either one of them. You certainly can skip executive, right? But all those elements are going to be in there, minus you can remove artist, you can remove executive, you can remove designer. One of them has to be there, okay? And then you can change the order, right? And so what's interesting about this is Super 7 and a company called, with a line called Reaction actually made a formidable warrior action figure a while ago, which was male, right? But then when WizKids came and made a miniature that said that the Red Box Warrior, that's the right term. Formidable warrior is nothing. That's, again, Super 7 bobbled the ball at every level, and the community didn't really experience it. A few individuals in the community experienced it, but not a quorum, right? the vast majority of the D&D community did not know that the Super 7 male action figure even existed. And the few that did not care enough to tell anybody else. So there was no relevancy and there was never engagement. And by the way, community engages. That means the community lifts that product up to relevancy. A good example of this is the community experienced the Rick and Morty box set. The community has not engaged with the Rick and Morty box set. So I don't think it's canon, right? It's not canon because it's not relevant. It needs to be relevant to be canon, okay? So that's the issue. We now know everybody who's involved. We now know all the events for canon. We're still figuring out how many of those elements do you need in place to establish canon, and what is the sequence of these events for canon. And we know they can change. We know, like, an executive could prompt the designers, or the designers and artists could mock something up, and an executive never even sees it, but it goes out without the executive ever looking at it, because executives don't, because executives don't always sign off, right? Sometimes they're excited, sometimes they don't even look at the product before it goes out, right? It's just standard executive behavior, right? Like, and it's not because they're not doing their jobs, because their jobs are so, like, it's because there's a million requests for license, crossover for Dungeons and Dragons, right? So I'm really excited about this Redbox Warrior as a woman, because because the biggest thing I think is I'm really excited that there could be a secret that nobody knew for 41 years in Dungeons and Dragons, because I'm saying there's a secret in Dungeons and Dragons that's been there for 50 years. And I think people are going to go, oh, he was right, right? Like, because we just saw it happen with a 41-year secret. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to your humble opinion, when you get in the comments, send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.